I used to think love looked like discipline, structure. Like someone setting the rules so I could feel safe inside them. That's how Adam made me feel in the beginning. Safe. Structured. Like my chaos had finally met its calm. He was a lawyer. Polished, precise, always in control. When we met, I was fresh out of a breakup and floating through life like a leaf in the wind. He was everything I thought I needed. Grounded, logical, strong. His apartment was spotless. His wardrobe was curated. His days scheduled down to the hour. And at first, it was charming. He remembered my favorite coffee order and had it waiting every Saturday morning when I came over. He complimented me, but not in a showy way. More like quiet affirmations whispered behind closed doors. He made me feel chosen. But there were rules. At first, they felt like quirks. Like I wasn't allowed to wear shoes in his apartment, which was fine, really. But then it became, don't leave your bag on the couch, or don't speak while I'm watching the news, or your laugh carries, tone it down in restaurants. I started adjusting, shrinking. It wasn't overnight, but slowly, I noticed I wasn't speaking as freely. I'd second-guess my outfits based on how he'd react. If he sighed too hard when I told a story, I'd cut it short. He said I over-explained things, that I talked in circles, that I used emotions to manipulate. I started questioning whether I really was too much. The first time he called me dramatic was when I cried after a bad day at work. I just wanted him to hold me, say it would be okay. But instead, he looked irritated and said, "This again." This was my need to be seen, to be heard. And apparently, that was too much for him. But love is compromise, right? That's what I kept telling myself. So I adjusted. Again. And again. He had this phrase he'd use whenever we argued, "Let's be rational about this." But rational always meant swallowing my feelings so his logic could win. Still, I stayed. I stayed because when it was good, it was really good. Dinners at expensive places, spontaneous weekend trips, long drives where he'd hold my hand and say, "I like how peaceful you are." Funny, because I hadn't felt peaceful in months. I think I finally started unraveling the day we went to his colleague's engagement party. It was in this penthouse suite in Manhattan. Glamorous, over the top. He told me exactly what to wear, down to my earrings. I thought it was because he cared. But I noticed how different he was in that space. Charming, affectionate, almost performative. Like he was putting on a show, and I was just an extra. When we got home, I brought it up. "You acted like a different person tonight," I said. He looked up from his phone and replied flatly, "That's how I network. Don't confuse it with how I am at home." I don't know why that sentence hit so hard, but it made something click. I started watching him more closely after that. That's when the cracks really showed. His phone, once left lying around without concern, was suddenly always face down. He'd step outside to take calls. And when I asked why he changed his password, he said, "Because I value my privacy. Don't you?" But one night, I heard him whispering in the bathroom. I wasn't trying to snoop. I'd just gotten up to get water. And there he was, voice low, saying, "She's here right now, I'll call you when she's asleep." I didn't confront him that night. I waited. I needed to know what I was up against. So the next day, while he was showering, I picked up his phone. Hands trembling. Heart pounding. I knew the code. He had no idea I'd memorized it months ago. And there it was. A thread of texts with someone named Mia. Not just flirting. Not just emotional. There were photos. Hotel receipts. A whole separate life. I didn't cry. Not right away. I just stood there, reading messages from a man who told me how much he hated drama, who said he was the rational one, while lying with the ease of someone who'd done it before. When he stepped out of the shower and saw me holding his phone, Everything froze. "You went through my phone?" he asked, not even shocked. Just annoyed. "I heard you last night," I said, voice calm but cracking. "Who is Mia?" He didn't even lie. He just said, "You were becoming too much. I needed space." Like I was a problem, a burden, an inconvenience. That night, I left his apartment. No shouting, no crying. Just me, walking into the night with nothing but my keys and the weight of 2 years wasted. And here's the wildest part. The moment I closed his door behind me, I felt light. Like I could finally breathe again. He texted, called, said I overreacted, that I should have talked to him instead of invading his privacy, that he still loved me. But I realized then that control isn't love. Silence isn't peace. And logic without empathy is just emotional neglect wrapped in sophistication. I haven't answered his messages. Not yet. Because some part of me still wants closure, even if I know I won't get the kind I deserve. But something tells me, the story isn't done yet. Because this morning, I got a message from Mia. And what she said changed everything. "Hey, I don't know if you know me, but I'm Mia. And I think we need to talk about Adam." I stared at my screen for a long time. "Hey, I don't know if you know me, but I'm Mia. And I think we need to talk about Adam." It felt like something cracked open inside me. I'd been expecting anger, excuses, maybe even gaslighting from Adam. But not this. Not her. I debated whether to reply. What if this was a trap? What if she was another version of him? Manipulative, careful, controlled. But my fingers moved before my mind could catch up. "I'm listening." She messaged back almost immediately. "I found your number saved in his notes app. He said you were just a friend he was helping through a breakup, but the way he talked about you didn't sit right with me. And when I saw your photo on his fridge, I knew he lied." The photo. It was a Polaroid we took on a Sunday morning. I was still in his shirt, makeup smudged, coffee in hand. He said he loved how raw and real I looked. Said it was his favorite version of me. He'd pinned it on the fridge with a tiny magnet. I thought it meant something. Apparently, it did, to both of us. I asked her how long they'd been together. About a year. On and off. I found out he was still on dating apps and confronted him. He said he needed freedom, but promised I was the only one he really connected with. I had to sit down. He'd been juggling us both. Maybe more. All while giving me rules on when to speak, how to dress, when to laugh. As if I was the one who needed fixing. I asked Mia if she wanted to meet in person. She didn't hesitate. We met at a quiet cafe downtown. Neutral territory. She was tall, soft-spoken, with tired eyes and a cautious smile. She looked like she hadn't slept properly in weeks. I probably looked the same. She slid her phone across the table without a word. I scrolled through messages. There he was, charming, flirtatious, emotionally manipulative. The same lines he fed me, he gave her. "You're the calm in my chaos. You get me in ways no one else ever has." I felt sick. Then came the part that made my stomach twist. She's emotionally unstable. I'm helping her through something. Once she's okay, I'll walk away. I just don't want to damage her more. That's what he told Mia. That I was unstable. That he was protecting me. He painted himself as my savior. My crutch. When in reality, he was the reason I couldn't sleep. The reason I'd been doubting my instincts, silencing my voice, disappearing into someone else's version of me. Mia looked up at me, her voice barely above a whisper. I think we were both just props in his story. He wanted control, worship, and we gave it to him because we thought it was love. I nodded, but my throat felt tight. "Do you still love him?" I asked. She blinked. "I'm not sure I ever really knew him." And that was the moment I realized I didn't either. I knew his routines, his favorite whiskey, the books he claimed to love but never finished. I knew the way he organized his closet and how he hated when I hummed while doing dishes. But I didn't know him. Not the version Mia and I were piecing together. Not the man behind the lies. We left the cafe in silence. She gave me a soft hug before we parted. And I think we both knew we just closed a chapter neither of us started writing. That night, I sat in my apartment staring at the ceiling. I deleted his number, blocked him on everything. But it still didn't feel like closure. I wanted him to know that I knew, that I saw through him now. So I sent one final message before I blocked his number again. "I met Mia. You lied to us both. We see you now. Goodbye." No response. But I wasn't expecting one. Days passed. Then weeks. I started sleeping through the night again. I went out with friends I hadn't seen in months. I even laughed, loudly, at a bar, and for the first time in ages, I didn't feel guilty for taking up space. Mia and I checked in on each other occasionally. Strange how trauma can bond two strangers so deeply. I thought that was the end of it. Until last night. I was walking back to my building when I saw a car parked outside. His car. My heart stopped. My pulse raced. I quickened my steps, unlocked the front door, got inside, and immediately checked my phone. No calls. No messages. But something told me he wasn't gone. Not really. I went to bed uneasy. And then, at 2:13 a.m., my phone lit up. Unknown number. You don't get to rewrite history like this. You never understood me. But you'll regret what you did. My breath caught. A minute later, another message came through. This one was worse. A photo. Me. At the cafe. Sitting across from Mia. He was watching. He's not done with me. And now, I don't think he ever really let me go.